Hi, my name is Carolyn, and thank you for clicking on this video, for taking an interest in the person, the individual behind the YouTube channel. I thought that I would make a video just simply introducing myself and sharing a bit about my journey and what has led me up until this point, creating this YouTube channel, and hopefully it will be helpful to you in some way. I'll be honest, I'm not that good at talking off the cuff, so this is definitely practice for me. First of all, I just want to say thank you for subscribing to my channel, for watching my videos, for taking a chance on a small creator. I really feel very, very grateful and excited to see where this is going to take me. Yeah, I just want to thank you for taking a chance on me and on my content. I have never really had this big of a social media following before, and I know in comparison to other people, it's really, it's still pretty small. But for me, it's a big deal. I definitely feel like I'm having imposter syndrome creep up a little bit because I think I've thought about what it would be like to have a following on social media to any degree, and now that it's some degree happening to me, it feels kind of wild. So yeah, just thank you. I feel like I'm up on a stage right now talking nervously to a crowd of people, even though I'm just staring at a camera, but thank you for bearing with me as I try out a different style of video. There are timestamps included in this video, so feel free to click through what is most interesting to you. So without further ado, let's get into my introduction. I am 28 years old, and I think I already mentioned my name. My name is Carolyn, and I live in Alberta, Canada. I recently just moved to the mountains about a year ago, and before that I was living in a city of about 100,000 people. And I feel very privileged and fortunate to be able to live in a more rural location now. It's something that was really important to me. I definitely felt not my best living in a city, and so I recognize that I'm very, very privileged to live where I do. I'll get into why I moved here and all of that pretty soon. I would like to share now what I do for work and what I did do for work previous to moving here. So before I moved to the mountains, I was working as a teacher. I taught full-time at an elementary school for 2 years, and I decided it wasn't for me. I really just deeply in my bones felt like something wasn't quite right. Not just as far as my own career was concerned, but as far as the education system was concerned. I just felt like something was amiss, that we could be doing better as educators, as adults trying to raise and bring forth children into the world who are capable and confident in themselves. One day I was driving to the mountains for a little getaway, and my husband was driving and I was in the passenger seat, and I was just thinking to myself, like, how did schools even come to be? What is the history of schools? How far back do they date? And so I just pulled up my phone, looked on Google, and I discovered a blog by a man named Peter Gray. And I believe he's an evolutionary biologist or psychologist, I'm not sure. I will clarify that in the description box. But anyways, I found his blog posts fascinating, and they really resonated with me, and suddenly everything started making sense as to why I was feeling the way I was feeling as a teacher. I can get into that in more detail in another video, but long story short, Peter Gray and also my own interest in forest school led me out of the teaching profession. I taught full-time for 2 years, and after that point, I decided to begin my journey to become a different type of educator, one that supports children in a different way and is helping them to learn largely just outside in a natural environment. I took a course with the Child and Nature Alliance of Canada to become a forest school facilitator. I did some coursework for about a year as I continued teaching, and eventually decided that I should move to a location that would be good for forest school. And cities can be a great place for it, but there was actually already a forest school running in the city that I lived in. I was able to volunteer and work with that forest school for a little while, but financially speaking, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to work with them and be able to really have a sustainable income. So I started looking at where I could do my own forest school, and in the community that I live in now, there wasn't really any forest school established. So I thought, perfect, I will get that going there. And that is exactly what I have done. And I feel super proud of myself for having taken that risk and going for it. It's definitely more risky financially speaking, but has it been worth it? Absolutely. I have learned so much about myself and about what I truly value, and here I am trying to make it work. But that being said, it hasn't all gone super smoothly. I had to work very hard to get to this point. Before I moved to the mountains, I was working up to 3 jobs in the city and just trying to save and make ends meet before moving out here. That being said, I recognize that I'm very privileged to have even had the option of moving out here. So I'm here, and it's been up and down for sure. That being said, what I do for work now is I run a forest school program. I substitute teach because unfortunately the forest school program has not given me the amount of income that I need. And then now I am starting YouTube, and hopefully that will be a stream of income for me in the future as well. I finally just kind of came to this conclusion of the economy is crazy, and if I want to be able to afford my own house someday, or just be able to be a functioning adult in this world that is able to take care of herself, then I need more money. I feel like that is the realization a lot of people are coming to right now. Once again, I am blown away so far about how YouTube is going for me. I've definitely been the person on the other side of the screen, wondering to myself, could I do that? Could I make videos for a living? Could I create something of worth to people? And if you're that person right now, thinking that to yourself as you watch other people's videos, I just want you to know that I'm living proof of someone who had that thought and acted on it, and something is actually coming of it. I guess what I'm trying to get at here is you just never know what's going to happen if you try something out. And so you might as well just go for it and see, because the worst that could happen is that it doesn't work out. And at least you tried, and at least you know. But the best that could happen is that it does take off for you and you experience some degree of success. I want to share a philosophy that I have recently encountered that has helped me take the leap with YouTube and just with a lot of things in my life, including forest school. And that philosophy is the philosophy of absurdism. Now, disclaimer, this philosophy is not revealing my own spiritual beliefs or worldview. That is something I don't really feel ready to talk about in depth. I did want to share the philosophy because it has been helpful to me in just taking leaps of faith. So the philosophy of absurdism is basically the idea that there may not be any inherent meaning in the universe and life is absurd. Like, why are we on this globe floating through space? What is the nature of consciousness? Like, life is absurd. But absurdism is rebelling against the idea that life is absurd. It's basically saying, maybe there's no inherent meaning in the universe, but I'm going to create my own meaning and live life the best that I know how. And I think regardless of whether or not you believe there's inherent meaning in the universe, I think you can still take this approach to life that you have this one life on this beautiful earth floating through space, and we're orbiting the sun, and we have technology where we can transmit signals and sounds to other people on the other side of the world, and it's absurd, but in so many ways it's absurdly beautiful, and why not make the most of it while we are here, while we are alive in this body? And that has really helped me to just try things out. Even making this video, there's this very analytical, overthinking part of my brain that's like, well, what if people hate it? And what if people don't watch it? And it's like, who cares? Why not just put it out there? What's the worst that could happen? Yeah, absurdism has really allowed me to come out of that headspace and just put myself out there on the internet, put myself out there in the community. And it's scary, but it's helping me to create meaning and value and purpose in my life. And I think that a lot of people are missing that in their lives. And anyways, I feel like I'm maybe going in circles now, but I hope that that's of value to you in some way, because it's really been helpful to me. That kind of leads me into my YouTube channel. I overthought whether or not I should do a YouTube channel for 4 years. Back in 2020, when I first started my teaching career, I came across a couple of YouTube channels and I was super inspired by them. I just wondered to myself, could I do that? And I overthought it for so long. And in some ways, that's okay. I don't necessarily regret that period of time where I thought about it, because I can't change it. And I feel like maybe the timing of my channel now is quite serendipitous. So in some ways, you kind of just got to trust the timing and journey of your life. But if there's something that you want to try and there's not really any reason why you shouldn't go for it right now, like, just go for it. Again, this philosophy of absurdism can really help, because in my case, I was super concerned about feeling ethically right about doing a YouTube channel, because I'm someone that feels that many people are spending too much time on their phones, on their computers. Just as a whole, we are getting way too much screen time, and I just felt like I can't contribute to that. Like, I'll be a hypocrite. And obviously, I think it's important to be a moral human being who tries to be a good human. But I think if we are too overly analytical about every little decision that we make, then we won't gain any sort of momentum in our lives. We won't gain traction, because we're going to be just so stuck in this headspace of, is this right for me to do? And I think that's maybe stems from having like a very black and white view on things, and not really being aware that there is so much complexity and nuance to making certain decisions, and that there's often pros and cons. There are definitely downsides of living in a digital age, but there are also upsides. There are positives. There are benefits to using the tool of technology to spread a positive message, to connect with like-minded individuals, and meet people who potentially you could actually have real life interactions with at some point. So I think there's just so much complexity and nuance. And if you get too wrapped up in, am I doing the right thing? Is this okay? I think you get the idea. I think I have hammered this point home, that if you get too overly analytical and black and white about things, it can really prevent you from just taking leaps of faith and focusing on the good parts of technology, YouTube, whatever it may be. Do I wish for a world where we're not so focused on our screens and indoors all the time? Yes, of course. But I think that we have to kind of meet the situation where it's at. And right now we live in a day and age where social media, digital media is very popular, and that's how we spread messages. That's how we make money a lot of the time too. So yeah. Anyways, I think I'm done rambling about that. This leads me to wanting to talk about the intention of my channel. I think part of the reason why it took me so long to create a YouTube channel is because I kind of lacked focus on what it was that I wanted to talk about. Now that I am living in the mountains and I've had recent events occur in my life, I feel like I've had an awakening of my own. And in saying that, I don't mean to say that I am claiming that I have more knowledge than anybody else. I am waking up to the fact that my knowledge is quite limited, and that there's this body of knowledge that our ancestors had that has largely been lost. And now we are living in a world where it's been dismissed. I guess the dominant perspective is taking over and continues to take over, and Indigenous communities all over the world are losing their traditional lifeways. And I just feel like this is such a tragedy, and I feel an intense desire to want to learn about our ancestors, about the Indigenous communities that still live today, and learn from them and wake up together. Got windy. I chose the name Awaken Our Wild because I do believe that this is something that needs to be a collective effort, and that not one person can awaken their own wild by themselves entirely, because the knowledge that has been lost was taught for millennia in communities. We're very social creatures, we're social beings, and we need each other. And so I feel like the same is true for today. If we want to rekindle our human wildness that we possessed before domestication occurred, then we need to rely on each other and we need to learn from each other. And so this channel is not about me claiming any sort of expertise. In fact, I will probably fumble and stumble as I try to learn. I think that our ancestors pre-colonization, they had a very light footprint upon this earth. I think that it is the most sustainable way of living that we have yet to discover. And I think that we could benefit from integrating sustainable practices, sustainable lifeways into our modern lives now, and hopefully marry the two, marry the old with the new. My hope is that this channel can be a space where we inspire each other, where we encourage each other to reconnect with human wildness and reconnect to nature, and that we're viewing ourselves as a part of nature. I also created this channel because not only is an ancestral life way more sustainable, and again, I'm not claiming that we should all go back to living in the Stone Age. That is not what I'm saying. But if we integrate some of the practices of our ancestors into our modern lives, I also believe that we will be more prepared individuals, that we are going to be more self-reliant and independent, and that brings about a feeling of freedom and sovereignty that, again, has largely been lost. Many people nowadays are completely reliant on the society in which they live. Again, that's natural because we're social creatures. We rely and depend upon each other. But I think we've relied too much on the state and government, and we can hardly grow our own food. We only eat and drink water because we pay our municipalities, we pay the government. It just feels like I'm handing over a lot of power to something that is not within my control. And I would like to take back that power and feel confident that I could provide for myself if I had to. And I'm not a doomsdayer by any means, but that being said, I don't think it's impossible for food security to fall apart, for natural disasters to occur. I do think that the human beings who are capable of using the land directly to live and survive, I think it is those people who are going to have the highest chance of survival. Of course, I wish for the world to never come to that, and I hope it doesn't. But I think about myself, I think about future generations, and I don't want to leave myself or future generations helpless. I want us to wake up and rekindle this knowledge, this ancestral wisdom, so that we can lead healthier, better lives. I'm just excited to see where this journey takes me as far as all of that is concerned. I am at the point where I know very little, and I'm excited 10, 20 years from now to see how I will have improved and how I will have taken back that sovereignty, that power. And thank you for being a part of that journey, for listening to this video all the way up until this point. And yeah, just thank you. Thank you for being a part of my journey. Now that I've introduced myself and shared a little bit about me, I would really love to hear from you in the comments. Yeah, introduce yourself in the comments down below. Tell me where you're from. And then anything that you want to share about yourself, whether it be what you do for a living, your most favorite thing about yourself, maybe something that you're really excited about, just anything. I'm just excited to get to know you. I really want this YouTube channel to feel relational and not just one-sided, because oftentimes it is one-sided. I'm the one talking right now and you're listening, but I really want to listen to you. So I'm excited to read your comments, and I hope that this video was of value to you in some way. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so that we can continue this conversation. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.